What's up? It's your boy Carcino here, and let's get into it. This is a situation where fame, power, ego, all that stuff align. In the 1980s, the diva battles were getting ready to start. They were who was better? Whitney Houston or Anita Baker. But people learned to appreciate both. Then came the Spanish hip hop R&B girls, Lisa and Colt Jam. They came in and took over the scene. Then it became Paula Abdul, the former Laker girl who used Arsenio Hall to get into the business and turn herself into a phenomenon. So after she became successful, there was no more need for Mr. Hall. So he was escorted out. And now we have Paula Abdul as the leading pop sensation. Then Whitney Houston dominated the entire rest of the 80s as this new pop wave was coming there, and people were forgetting about the vocals, where Whitney was strong. Whitney had a good run to about 92, 93, then the baton was passed to the girl with the high-pitched voice, the little mixed girl with the curly hair and the cute smile, Mariah Carey. Totally patterned after Whitney Houston all the way down to the album covers. Tommy Mottola's project. He was gonna make her the biggest star in the world. And he had her selling millions and millions of records. People had not seen the lights of the million. People don't know how many records Mariah Carey has sold. She sold a lot of records. I mean, a lot of records. Multi-million. Like, her albums were doing diamond like every album. Like, it's nothing. Like, Music Box, I think, did like 30 million records sold. I mean, for real. She was doing it. So the 90s was definitely all like Mariah Carey starting this, and then next thing you know, she's everywhere. Mariah Carey Unplugged. Mariah Carey's everything. So at the Music Box, you couldn't tell her nothing. But the more and more they started to just focus more on her face and show like this black and white contrast. And everybody's like, and I'm like, what is this? And the more they got her song style is changing now. She's singing more like to the Troops, Dreamlover. She has a lot of professional writers. But this is the first album she's done, Music Box, in which Tommy Mottola wasn't an executive producer or producing this album. He was basically on the sidelines, being her husband. Now, he always kept Mariah in certain extent as far as the writing stages and things. He wanted her to make sure she kept her body covered. He didn't want nothing revealed. He wanted to keep her covered up, and everything has to go Tommy's way. Mariah was very insecure growing up, so she was taught to basically obey whatever the man wants because, he knows best. So she comes out with this Christmas album, that they pretty much put out all these Christmas songs. That Christmas song sells about 1 million records every year. Mariah Carey is it. Then she comes out with another one, Daydream. All of these things are building up. She's the biggest star in the world. Then the marriage falls apart. There's problems in the relationship. Mariah's fighting back more. As far as she's fighting him on, he's like, what do you mean? I gave you orders and you ain't followed them. What in the world is going on here? So everyone was up in arms, like, what's going on with Mariah and what's going on with Tommy Mottola? And it was the success of her first single in 1995, Fantasy, the remix. That was a B-side that brought in Sean Puffy Combs. Babyface and Jermaine Dupri, who collaborated on this album, thought, we ought to go for a little, more like jazzy hip hop. But the risk of bringing the Old Dirty Bastard in on the song was like the most genius thing in the world, because it was so unorthodox, but it paid out. It worked to perfection. The B-side became the biggest hit. The first side without the Old Dirty Bastard didn't really do anything, and Tommy wanted that out. Like, I want that out. I don't want the one with the Old Dirty Bastard. You could play that on a B-side for the hip-hop clubs. I don't want it out there on the mainstream. Until it became a monster smash and started getting spins. The non-version of Mariah Carey's The Plain Fantasy without the Old Dirty Bastard, people didn't even want to hear that. They want to hear me and Mariah go back like Baby and Pacify. People wanted to hear that. So after this success, she's like, see, my sound needs to change. I need to get more and more into hip hop. You see the appeal I got, and like the world loved it. It was a great. So Tommy's fighting her, and it's becoming very public. She needs to be out more, and Puffy's telling her, like, you got a beautiful body, you should show it. So you're right, I don't want to be in this marriage no more. Tommy Mottola's marriage is crushed. Puffy didn't got in her head, and Puffy thinking about all the money he can make off Mariah Carey. Her next album, Butterfly, she's on the cover showing skin. Everybody's like, whoa, what is happening here? Mariah Carey, that Honey video, she's everywhere. Puffy's all over it. Oh, there was a very mad human being. And Tommy Mottola. You have all this. This is basically a hip hop album. Trax Masters, Missy Elliott, Puffy, Q-Tip. So Tommy said, okay, that's what you want to do? Alright. If homie wants to play it, we'll play it all night long. Puffy was developing a girl that he had in the cut. And everybody's like, well, who's this girl you got in the cut? Jennifer Lopez, an actress, a B-rated actress, who really was a C-rated actress at this time. She was a C-rated actress who decided that it would be best if she was to actually switch and go into music, because she's into dance. Her acting career wasn't going the way she, hoped. She had some movies out, but they were nothing that were breaking the mold. So what she decided to do was get her music career going and take a stab at music. But coming out with the wrong partner is kind of bad. It's kind of a bad step for you. So She hooks up with Sean Puffy Combs, who at that time was rumored to be messing around with Mariah. Like they were dating and doing their thing. So that didn't work out, and she ended up dating Luis Miguel, another multimillionaire who could afford to take care or deal with Mariah's attitude. But her and, Puffy were very close. And now Puffy started to ignore Mariah Carey for this Jennifer Lopez. And she's like, okay, he blow me off for this? I'll show him. I'm going to cut him off of producing my next album. So she cut Puffy out of the promotion of dealing with her. She still worked with Missy and the Brad and everybody else, but Puffy was out. And she had Jimmy Jam and Terry Lewis and all those guys working with her. Now, here comes On the 6th with Jennifer Lopez. It wasn't an outstanding album, but what it was an introduction into Jennifer Lopez as a serious rap. I mean, not rap, but an artist, a musical artist. She was very determined that she was gonna be a musical artist, and it's like pop Latin music. But the thing is, If You Had My Love and Waiting for You Tonight, Feel So Good, all this stuff was Sean Puffy Combs. All of the things that he wanted to do for Mariah's album, he ended up doing for Jennifer Lopez's album. Enter Tommy Mottola. Tommy came through the door, Bogart his way in, and was like, Puffy, you turned your back on me for this new girl, Jennifer Lopez. She comes out, she's just insane, putting out album after album. Puffy's producing her album, and he produced that Love Don't Cost a Thing, and they break up right in the middle of making this record. But at this time, she's kind of being co-managed, and being, basically coached by Tommy Mottola, who's overseeing everything with Jennifer Lopez. And what he did was something that was kind of evil. Because Mariah's coming out with her movie that she was working with quietly, that nobody knew about. She was doing Glitter, but the soundtrack and everything she was working on was kept quiet. And like, I think we did this before. We talked about what had happened with the song I'm Real, and how they stole that from Jennifer Lopez. From Mariah Carey. They used the same sample that she had, and she had to change the whole song from Firecracker. And I think we've actually had this discussion, where I was talking about this. And this is the second time they did it. They basically said, I want this same type of song that you're doing for Mariah, I want it for Jennifer Lopez. And he hired Irv Gotti to do that. So Irv basically broke his code of ethics for money. And the Firecracker sample that was recorded on the soundtrack as Loverboy, it had to be changed. And then Ja Rule did the If We song with Mariah Carey, but it don't sound as good as I'm Real. You know, it just didn't come off that well. But it's basically the same tempo as what Jennifer Lopez got. So imagine you coming up with all these different things for your album that's supposed to be secret, and then here comes Jennifer Lopez on her album. She got your rhythm, she got everything that's going on, and here are the pictures of her with Tommy Mottola flying everywhere. Then there's rumors that they're sleeping together and messing around. So this becomes a big, big problem. And Jennifer Lopez is like, look, I'm not messing around with Tommy Mottola. Tommy Mottola and I are just friends, it's business and this and that. Oh, he wanted to squeeze Puffy Combs out of position. He been wanting to do that because he was mad about the Mariah situation. So he wanted to take J-Lo from him. And he did. Now Mariah then lost 2 of her men to J-Lo. Now, here's a girl that came out of nowhere but taking the man out of her life. And she's like, they're trying to sabotage me, and they're using this woman to do it. She's basically the vessel, and they figuring like Tommy, like, I can make anybody a star. I made you, Mariah. I can make another Mariah. Jennifer Lopez. She's gonna be bigger than you. Mariah thought that was comical. And because she thought it was comical, they continued to slander her albums, putting albums up against hers. Any artist that was coming out, he was putting them up against Mariah Carey's album. He had somebody else drop an album. He put it up against Mariah's. Let it drop at the same time. Any artist he had that was female, he wanted to destroy Mariah Carey. That was his whole goal. Like, I'm going to use all my resources to let her feel the pain I'm feeling. So she ended up taking Glitter to Virgin Records. And when she did that, and she got an $80 million contract. So the album tanked because of the damage done by Tommy Mottola. So EMI just panicked and said, "Oh man, she's done. We got to buy her out of this contract." So they gave her like $49 million and bought her out of her deal. And then she started waiting on other offers from other contracts. So she was making money doing this, big money, but people were scared to touch her because of, how it came out. And because Sony Music was a part of Sony Pictures for Glitter, he was aware of what they was working on. That's how he was able to know what's going on, because Tommy Mottola is Sony. And he is as crooked as can be. You saw what happened with him and Michael Jackson. So, once Tommy does this, everybody start to look at Jennifer Lopez like, you home wrecker. You ruining, a whole lot of stuff, and this Sean Puffy Combs. She needed a rebound. She needed a break from music because it was getting crazy. So she just put out an album of remixes because that was basically her thing now. So they did the Ain't That Funny remix and Irv Gotti and them. They basically were remixing all her songs so she could focus more on movies and film. So she started to go into producing, going back, getting her stuff together. So she went and got her a whole different look. She got a deal with Epic That was huge. It was No More Puffy. And she was Jenny from the Block. And the whole album is different tone. It's more Tommy Mottola-ish type of records. But Tommy basically got her with Ben Affleck. She's got an acting career going on because she's attached to Ben. She's getting better roles, better projects. She gets made in Manhattan. She gets another movie role that her stock is up now. Now she's getting like $5-6 million per film. Then it started to go up to $10 million per film. She was making money and she was breaking all records for any Latino artist ever in the game. Now, when they asked Mariah Carey, do you know Jennifer Lopez? She was like, I don't know her. I mean, of course she's heard her name, but what she meant is she don't know her. Like, I don't know enough about her to really conversate, but she's aware who the person is. But she doesn't know anything really about her to have a conversation and talk about her. She's not going to do that. You know, Mariah's been successful since she was in her teens. She knows how to handle media and how to be trained, so she's not going to be out there saying something that's going to be quoted over and over and over again. But I don't know her became the biggest quote one of the biggest things she ever said. Like, with all that media training, it's like, wow, I said I didn't know her and they took it out of context. So, even now, all these years later, Jennifer Lopez is still getting it done. And Mariah Carey and her they're not going to get along. And Mariah had her thing on Vegas, doing her Las Vegas show. Here comes Jennifer Lopez with her Vegas show. So Britney was like, y'all just going to really squeeze me out. So I found that to be real interesting. Thought y'all might be entertained to know about it and learn a little about the business and about what goes on behind the scenes. So that's basically it. I mean, it's where it is right now. But Mariah ain't gonna like Drake and all them people surpassing her. Mariah's not gonna concede anything to any of these artists because she sold way more records than Jennifer Lopez, and definitely sold more records than basically any artist. If you ain't talking Whitney Houston, you're not even in the same category as her. I don't think Celine Dion has sold as much as her. When Mariah came back and she revitalized her career, she got away from Luis Miguel before she went back to that, and she had a difficult time, but she's a fighter. And that's why she stay on top and stay winning, because she knows how to stay relevant. So you tell me which artist you like better, or who you like better, Jennifer Lopez or Mariah Carey. It's your boy Carcino. I'm out.